Firefighting is not for the faint of heart, even when you're just a pretend first responder in Shondaland. From tolerating sweaty colleagues and lugging around heavy equipment to having to pass fireman boot camp.
It's exhausting,
Yeah.
and we sweat a lot.
Here are some of the crazy sacrifices the cast must make to bring Station 19 to life. Always stay hydrated. When you're a cast member on this set, you gotta get used to the heat. All those blazing fires you see in each episode of Station 19 are the real deal. Because the cast work around actual fires, safety's critical. The dangers sometimes bother Jay Hayden, who plays Travis, but thankfully he knows there are safeguards in place to protect him and his co-stars.
Honestly, a little bit nervous,
Yeah.
but there's so many safety precautions, and usually it's like a fire bar that's actually pretty far away from us,
Yeah.
and then everything else is kind of FX
Right,
put in.
right.
But even that fire bar, the heat that comes off of that is a lot.
The filming location doesn't turn down the heat either. The team only shot a little bit of the first episode in Seattle, but the rest is actually filmed in LA, most of the time in Altadena.
And it's hot there.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever put on a giant turnout fire suit. It's hot in there.
Knowing that, it's no surprise that the cast members do a fair amount of sweating, and that's exactly why they're required to stay hydrated. Andy's Jaina Ortiz revealed that the firefighter gear they wear weighs about 70 pounds. This means they are drenched after shooting just a few scenes.
During lunch, I have to change my clothes underneath. That's how soaked everyone is. Everyone. So yeah, we stay hydrated. We drink about a gallon of water.
Even though everyone sips on their water bottles throughout the day, there's a particular problem that demands a tolerant approach. Get used to body odors. To make the actors even more hot and bothered, most of the equipment used on set is real, and you can guess who gets to carry all the heavy gear around and look cool while doing it. Maya's Danielle Savre told Parade that the functioning oxygen tank on its own weighs 30 pounds. And then you grab the tools, and that's another 20-30 pounds, the actress shared. When it all gets too heavy, Ortiz adds that they will typically opt for the fake oxygen tanks and axes, but even those are heavy with a capital H. They definitely get their workouts in during a normal day on the job. Unfortunately, an unavoidable consequence of doing physically challenging scenes and sweating a lot is body odors. They're just human after all. That's why there's an unspoken rule that you have to be nice to your colleagues, even when they're not exactly smelling like a bed of roses.
If only you can smell this video.
So all in all, it's a hot and heavy, sweaty and stinky affair, which makes you wonder, how did the cast prepare for such demanding roles? Give us a minute and we'll tell you. But first, let's see which skill they must master to be worthy pretend firefighters. Stick to the insurance rules. One of the running jokes on the show's pilot revolves around sliding down the fire pole. The whole cast loves doing it so much that there's even a bit of competition going on behind the scenes. Danielle revealed that they used to place bets to see who had the smoothest or most creative slide down the pole. It's quite funny to watch, and Miguel Sandoval is usually the funniest. In terms of what it's like to actually get it right, Jack's Gray Damon admitted it's not as easy as it looks. Initially, it burns the palms a little bit if you go down too quick, and it can strain your legs too, because it's all in the legs, as it is with most things. Maybe Damon found it harder because he wasn't there when everyone learned how to slide and style. The actor ended up having to do a last-minute crash course and hoping for the best. Danielle revealed a secret that often gets the cast in trouble. They're only allowed to do so many takes of them sliding down the pole for insurance purposes. So it's vital that the actors listen to what they're told and stick to the rules, even if they just want one more try. In the real world, most firehouses these days don't use the poles anymore because many people got injured. Turns out it's safer just to use stairs. Now, it's time we address the elephant in the room. Did Jay Hayden pass fireman boot camp or not? This brings us to rule number 4. Don't fail your firefighting training. Each cast member had to undergo intensive training when they first got their roles. That shouldn't come as the biggest surprise. This is Shondaland, and Station 19 aims to keep everything as true to real life as possible. The group of actors all had a 3-day boot camp where they were taught the basics by actual LAFD firefighters. During their crash course, the cast learned how to put on their gear properly and quickly, how to operate the tanks for their oxygen, and they even did drills. On that topic, there is one actress who was actually timed in putting her uniform on. According to Gray Damon, lead actress Jaina ran a real-timed course and passed with flying colors. The gang also had to run up the drill tower in their heavy gear and do things firefighters would do. As it turns out, some cast members were naturals, while others had a much harder time.
Barrett Doss excelled, Jaina Ortiz excelled, and I made it through. I barely passed.
We think Jay is probably being too hard on himself, but at least he's giving us a good idea of how fit and strong firefighters really are.
Well, when you put on the tank and the axe and the oxygen and they put all this hose line on you and you run up 5 flights of stairs, if you're not used to that,
Right.
you're exhausted.
You might
Maybe
faint.
you're looking for a bucket to throw up in.
We don't know if there's any rule against vomiting on the set, but there is one about work-life balance. Don't skimp on your sleep. The cast members have to burn the midnight oil on many occasions. Take Ben's Jason George as an example. His average workday begins at 5 a.m. and ends around midnight. He has to travel to the set, make a stop at hair, makeup, eat something, and review his lines for the day. This all before his early morning call time. Then he has to go and work with real fire, hack buildings apart with axes, and wield heavy hoses for hours at a time. As physical as it is, there's a big mental piece to actually fighting fires. The amount of intelligence that these people have to have in order to figure out where the fire's gonna be going. Station 19 shoots often clock in at more than 12 hours, so there's significant pressure on the body and mind. That's why it's absolutely vital that the cast avoids burnout as far as possible. Some of them opt for push-ups after a long night of work.
You just need to get in push-ups.
Oh my God.
Trying to wake up.
Others prefer busting a few dance moves to keep the stress at bay.
Yes.
For Gray Damon, it's even more important to prevent burnout since he's had fatigue issues his whole life. I do little things that give me a little bit of a leg up. Changing things in my diet, getting enough sleep, working out, the things doctors tell you to do that no one ever listens to. I do those. For Jaina and Danielle, it's all about sleep, massages, sleep and massages. Dean's Okaridi Onautawan says he has to stretch a lot and also needs to get enough shut-eye to stay sane. But we're really training as athletes. And fire is as it is. It's very unpredictable, even working within controlled circumstances, so it's just a lot of rest more than anything. Well, clearly a good night's rest should be written into their contracts. There's another unspoken rule among the Station 19 cast. Take birthdays seriously. You probably heard this a lot, but when actors work together closely for a long time, they become like family. This is true for the Station 19 cast as well, so it means celebrating birthdays are pretty important.
Happy birthday to you! Barrett and Jaina decorated my room full of so much candy.
Ortiz spilled more juicy details, like the one time they surprised Barrett with a chicken who sang to her. It was a guy dressed in a suit, and it was the funniest and most embarrassing thing ever. And on Jay's birthday, Danielle and Jaina filled his trailer with 100 balloons and confetti. Who knows what's next if this is where they started? We mentioned that Station 19 tries to make the firefighting rescues look realistic, and to do that, the cast must adhere to rule number 7. Ask the experts. The actors work with a group of tech advisors who are usually former firefighters on a daily basis. These experts will let them know if they're doing something wrong. Although the group enjoyed their firefighting boot camp, Danielle admits that they really learned the most by just doing it every day on set and being corrected. While most of the cast ask the technical advisors, some of them have a little extra expert help. Savre's sister is an LAFD firefighter in real life, who sometimes acts as her stunt double and also lent a helping hand.
She did. She helped me a lot. It was more just getting down, not looking like a fool, like putting all the gear on and like that whole thing and getting comfortable with everything.
Yeah.
But absolutely the training too side of it.
While Danielle's sister gave her tips, it actually ended up working against her. So unfortunately, I was held to a higher standard since the technical advisors were like, "You better represent, your sister's an actual firefighter." Oh well, we guess there's nothing wrong with setting the bar high. The actress certainly lived up to expectations. In turn, Ortiz also had a little extra inspiration to draw on. She channels her father, a retired homicide detective, when her character needs to be a badass. I'm the female version of him in all my roles. As if that's not impressive enough, the actress was a professional salsa dancer before she turned to acting. Ortiz told people her dancing experience comes in handy when she's doing stunts or has to learn a choreographed scene. About stunts, Jaina loves doing all her own stunts, but she's not a sucker for punishment, so she mostly leaves the leaping out of the window action to the professionals.
I'm like, go ahead, double, do your thing.
And with that, we've come to the end. Thanks for watching with us, and stay awesome.